Hi guys, my name is Nona Ray with Harvesting Faith Homestead. So I am joining in on the book recommendation collaboration with Roots and Refuge Farm. So Jess asked about recommendations we have on books that we know are not AI created. I thought it was a great idea. I have a few books here. So I just wanted to go through some of my favorites. First off, I have the Made from Scratch Life by Melissa K. Norris. I absolutely adore Melissa. I listen to her podcast every week, and I bought this book. It's good for just like general reading, plus it's got a lot of different recipes in it for food and cleaning supplies and different things like that. Melissa also does a lot of stuff with like safe canning practices and stuff, which is really great for new beginning people in the homestead life. I've been canning my entire life since I was a kid, so I don't really consume her content for canning, but she also does a lot with herbalism, which I'm getting into for my own family. So I really love Melissa K. Norris, and I do plan on buying her other books that she has as well once I am through my current list of books that I have to read. The next book that I have here is a canning cookbook. So the Homestead Canning Cookbook is by Georgia Varozza. This was a recommendation from Melissa K. Norris. She has been on Melissa's podcast a few times, and she goes through different canning recipes. What I like about Georgia is she has different recipes from the ball canning books and stuff like that. She's come up with her own recipes based off of the scientific knowledge that she has in canning. She is a master canner, so she does have like legitimate education in canning and safe canning practices. So I use her book to reference all the time. This book is a great book. I have no complaints over it. I use it regularly. I have recommended it to a lot of people. The recipes that I have used in it always come out really, really good. So there is that canning cookbook. I don't tend to use any of the ball canning books just because they're all very similar. And I've been canning most of my life, so I don't really need help with certain things that newer people might need help with. They are great for reference if you are a newer canner. And they have a lot of different good information in them. I don't use them. I tend to just Google pressure canning times for green beans or for tomatoes or for whatever. But I really should get some actually just to have reference on hand. But I also, I don't have them here, but the pressure canners come with manuals. That they either come with it or you can print it off Google. I've printed mine off Google, and they actually have a lot of really good information in them about different pressure canning times for products. And they also have recipes in them for canning. Like, I've used the meatless pasta sauce canning recipe. They have a lot of good, and they're very little, so I have a binder, like a family recipe book from that people gave to my aunt, and she created like a cookbook for our family. And it fits nicely in the little like plastic sleeve. So I always have it when I need it. So those are great for reference as well if you need them. This next one is a little bit more controversial. The author of this book is a part of the Rebel Canning group on Facebook. So a lot of people kind of get up in arms about it. I'm a part of the Rebel Canning group. I don't always follow USDA rules. I do follow USDA processing time, and I always use a pressure canner. I don't really like water bathing. So the reason, so this is the book, The Complete Guide to Pressure Canning by Diane Devereaux. So I like her book because when probably 8 years ago, I've been canning my whole life, but I really got more into it when I got shortly after I got married. And I was trying to come up with recipes, and like the bulk canning guides, everything is very regulated, and they don't have a lot of information for like how to create your own recipes and how to can your own stuff. They just want you to follow the recipes in the cookbook as they are, which is fine. But I also they have a pasta sauce recipe that is safe for canning, so I should also be able to can my own pasta sauce if I would like to. If I'm using high pressure, I don't see a problem with it. So I found this book. It came from a recommendation from the Rebel Canning group, because she comes up with a lot more fun things, lots of different like meals in jars that you can create. And she does talk about the science of canning too. It's not just like her putting things in a book and saying, well, it's legitimate. So if that's something that you are interested in, I do use this book regularly. I've never had an issue with the book, so that would be up to you. But I do find it a legitimate source of canning. And then the next book I have, which I have already seen shown in the other book recommendation videos, this is my dehydration book. So I got into dehydration a few years ago. I didn't really know a whole lot about it. I bought one of those cheap little dehydrators from like Farm and Fleet that didn't have a thermostat. It was cool, heated from the bottom. It wasn't a very good one, so I had a lot of trouble with it. So I don't remember where this recommendation came from, but what I love about this book the most is not only does she give information on how to dehydrate the fruits and vegetables and herbs and everything in here, but then she also has recipes in the back for how to use the stuff that you've dehydrated, which has always been an issue for me because I'll dehydrate things and then I end up like eating, like I'll dehydrate slices of tomatoes, and that's great, and then I'll end up eating them as a snack because I don't know what else to use them for. So she gives a lot of different recipes on how to use the foods that you've dehydrated. This was the one that I had one little beef with. The one thing that I don't love about this book is that she recommends using like corn syrup and cornstarch in things, which I didn't really love, but that's whatever. It's very little, very minimal. And that's in her recipes to cook with, not like the actual dehydration. So there's that one. I do like this one a lot, and I use it regularly as well. When I'm dehydrating things, I can never remember what temperatures to put like certain things at. So having her book on hand is really nice. So yeah. And then the next one I have, this was actually a recommendation from a friend of mine. Not necessarily homesteading related, but just very helpful. So this is the Working Woman's Cookbook by Betty Crocker. This book, it's a cookbook, but it's basically like the OG of freezer cooking. So it gives recipes for cooking in bulk, and then freezing it, essentially, to be reheated later. And this I've used it a handful of times. My friend uses it a lot more than I do, but there's a lot of really good recipes in here to use. And it's really handy for stocking your freezer full of meals when you have something coming up that, you know, like if your kids have a lot of, like if you're getting into sports season for your kids or stuff like that, cooking like this and freezing it is really, really handy for continuing to be able to eat from scratch, which I do. I don't cook anything from a box. Nothing. Sometimes I'll use like spice packets, but very rarely do I even do that. So yeah, this is really handy. The next few books I don't reference frequently, but I'm getting into. So this one is for medicinal stuff, medicinal herbs. It's an older book. It's called Back to Eden, by Jethro Kloss. It was originally written in 1939. So he's, I think, like a doctor or something, but he's very holistic. And it goes through any kind of ailment that you have, any ailment. I mean, this book is big. It's a big book. It's got a nice reference index in the back. So it gives you the ailments and then the treatment for the ailments. And it's all very holistic, and it's really wonderful. And I'm just getting into herbs and stuff in my garden. I am not the greatest at doing herbs yet. I tend to forget that that they exist. So hopefully this year, well, we're going into winter now, so the season is over. But next season, I'm hoping to kind of get my shit together a little bit better and get more herbs in my pantry so that I can get off of pharmaceutical stuff. So yeah, that's 4 herbs. And then I have 3 more here. They kind of all go together. I don't remember where the recommendation came from these 3 either, but this is foraging books. So we have Incredible Wild Edibles. We have Edible Wild Plants. And we have more Edible Wild Plants. So these books They're foraging books, obviously. Probably my favorite part about this is the guy who wrote them only lives about an hour north of me. So everything in here is super local to me. When I'm in Wisconsin, Zone 4A, and there's just not a lot of people that are in northern climates that are online, or that I've found anyway, that have a lot of good information for people in northern climates. Because growing and foraging and doing stuff here is a lot different from doing stuff in even Indiana or, Kentucky or something like that. Places that are still Midwest, but they're south. Like, I don't ever use shade cloth here because we don't get hot enough. We are lucky if we get into the 90s in the summer. Sometimes we will hit 100 degrees for a day or two stretch, but very rarely. So this guy, he lives further north than me. Like I said, about an hour and a half north. What I like about his book is that he talks about the plant that you can forage, and then he tells you where you can find it, but he also tells you what it looks like in the state where you want to forage it. And what I mean by that is most foraging guides, they just tell you, they give you like a description of the plant, and they might give you a picture of it in its like peak season. But not all plants you eat in their peak season. Like there's a fern. I don't remember what the fern is called, but it like coils. And you can see it here on the picture. That's a fern before it like ferns out. And that is the state where you want to eat it. You don't want to eat it once it's ferned. But foraging guides usually show you the fern. They don't always show you the coiled stage that it is in when you want to pick it. So he goes through and he does that. Then he also kind of tells you how you want to prepare the food, which is another thing that I don't believe foraging guides really tell you about. And then he tells you kind of where to find it, which is cool. What kind of habitat it grows in, all of that fun stuff. So he's got 3 books here. I think one of this one's got cactuses, so this one might be more south than here. So those are the books that I have to recommend because they have been in my pantry for a while. I use them regularly. I'm getting more into the harvesting and the herbs, but the other ones I definitely use all the time. So that's all I had. One last thing that I just wanted to throw in there. This isn't a recommendation on books necessarily, but I do have a couple other content creators that I really like to follow, who I think have really good information. Obviously, like I said, I follow Melissa K. Norris. I also follow a lady by the name her website is called Pantry Mama, PANTRYMAMA. I don't think she has a YouTube channel. She does sourdough bread and sourdough making. She has a Facebook group for new people that are into sourdough. And she has a website with a ton of great recipes. I've followed a lot of found different recipes for sourdough, and they don't always turn out very well. Hers turn out beautifully every single time. She is incredible. So if you're into sourdough making, definitely go out to pantrymama.com and find her recipes, print them off, and use them for your sourdough making. She's got a ton of resources. Then also, obviously, I follow Roots and Refuge. I actually just got turned on to Roots and Refuge 2 weeks ago, I think, from one of my friends who is also very big into homesteading and stuff. So I've been binge watching the Roots and Refuge channel, which is great. And then I follow Garden Like a Viking. His channel, I don't even remember his actual name. But he's in Indiana. He's this redheaded guy with a big beard. And what I like about his channel is everything is very holistic. He does a lot with fermentation and creating your own fertilizers from compost tea and different things like that. He's also got different types of organic pest control and stuff. He follows this thing called JDOM something. He says it's not his creation. He took it from someone else. He just shares it with everyone, and it works very well. It's essentially Castile soap mixed with different things as a wetting agent to help them bind with water. I don't know. I'll be trying it this year in my garden. But he has a lot of really great information and a lot of fermentation stuff on his YouTube channel. He told me he doesn't have a website yet to go to with printed or printable recipes, but he has a lot of great information on his YouTube channel. Then MI Gardener is really great too. He's in Michigan, obviously, the MI Gardener. I don't know what zone he's in, but he's close to me. So that, again, being up north, it's kind of fun finding people who are in similar locations, because there's more people that are in the south than there are in the north that are on YouTube and have channels and stuff. So MI Gardener is a great resource, and he sells seeds as well, which are very affordable. So he's a great guy to support. And then also the Epic Gardening channel I also follow. I really love the Epic Gardening channel. They're out in California. So they don't have the cold season that we have. I think he said that they get down into the 40s for a few weeks out of the year, maybe. Which is kind of funny, but I don't know that they would survive here. But yeah, he's been a great resource to go to for gardening stuff as well. Anne of All Trades is wonderful. I love her. She has a really great YouTube channel. She's in Tennessee. She is in Tennessee. She's really fun to follow. And she does also have a website where I believe information can go and get printed if you would like to keep it. Yeah, so those are my recommendations for different books and people to follow who have really helped me in my homesteading journey. And even though I live in town, I don't have a lot of land. So my biggest thing has been learning how to homestead in my house, and then how to grow a garden intensively so that I can feed my family. I am also looking for more resources on intensive growing and seasonal eating, seasonal cooking is what I'm getting into now, which I think will be a very interesting journey to go on. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what everyone else has to say. Thank you and have a good day.